Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today, Blutopia is in danger as a mysterious villainess has stolen the colors of this world, leaving everything black and white. Now you're called to lead the Sky Painters, who are winged creatures that have tails that emanate magical paint to help return Blutopia to its vibrant beauty. Sky Painters is for 2 to 4 players. It takes 45 minutes to play, is suitable for ages 10 and up, and published by B Gamer. Now it's being crowdfunded right now, so I'm going to show you how the game works and I'll see you on the other side. This is a crowdfunding preview, so all the art and components you see here are not final, they're prototypes. To see all the most up-to-date art and components, see the link in the description of this video. Now in Sky Painters, there's 2 immediate ways to win, and then there's a third way to win if one of those don't happen. The first way is to get these Sky Painters. And if you're able to get 5 of them like this, you'll win, and you're going to be spending resources of hope chips and spots in order to get these. And if you're able to do that and have the leader token on your turn, you win immediately. Also, over the course of the game, you're going to be gathering these gray sky cards, and you're going to be able to be drafting dice from pools, manipulating their values, and completing these. When you complete them, they'll end up being beautiful and vibrant like this. And on your turn, if you're able to have 9 of them completed in a 3x3 grid like this, and have the leader token, that's another way to win immediately. And if neither of those immediate things happen, at the end of the game, you're going to be getting points for cards, from the Sky Painters themselves, and some bonuses in different other ways. And the most points win if nobody wins an immediate victory. Turns go in clockwise order. On your turn, the main thing you're going to do is perform a main action. There's many different choices of that. Everyone's going to start with a starter card, the gray card that's face down. Remember, you're trying to get these flipped up in order to possibly get that 3x3 completed card for victory condition. Each player's going to start with certain resources depending where you are in the player count. So let's talk about the different actions you can take on your turn. And you're only doing one action, but one of them could be take a cloud token. If you don't have any of these, you would take one. And as we'll show you later, this is going to help you more easily fulfill the requirements for this card. Now, you can't do this if you already have one, and if there's none left in the supply, you actually steal one from another player. Now, another action you can do is take a card. These 3 below the board are free. This one on the top of the deck, since it's the newest one that nobody's seen yet, it is going to cost 3 hope and 3 spots, which are resources in the game. Now, let's say I take this card. Now, if you take the center card, the left card, or you pay to take this card, from the supply, you add a hope chip onto this card as shown here. This makes this card more advantageous for people to get because not only are they getting a card, they're going to be getting some hope as resources, and we'll show you what you can do with these later. And after you take that card, you slide things to the right, so now there is a new card that no one's seen yet that someone might purchase on this next turn. Now when you take a card, you need to place it adjacent to another card you already have, and you'll notice that there are some things that will line up, like clouds have to line up with clouds. For example, I couldn't put this here because this has a half halo and it doesn't line up with the half halo on the other side, so you're matching things like this. Now let's just say after a few turns, this is how it looked here. We matched up the clouds here. This is okay because nothing needed to match there, but some cards have other requirements. Like this has limitations. It has grass here, which means nothing can be put below this card. This one has night, so nothing can be placed on the left of those, so you have to keep track of those as well. But let's just go back to my simple example. We got our first card here and we put it like that. Now the most uncompleted cards, these are the gray ones that you see here, that you can have in your area are 3. So once you have 3, you have to complete those before you can place another uncompleted gray side card. So how do you complete these cards? Well, on a future turn, one of the actions you can take is to grab a die. Now this needs a blue 5, a white 4, and so on and so forth. Yellow 3. Now there is a pool of dice that was rolled at the beginning of the game, and you could take one of these, like this white 4 for example, and I could place it on this white 4, and because it's the exact color and value, that die right here is considered complete. However, let's say I took a white 6. It's higher than the 4, and it's higher by 2. This is still considered complete. But what we'll do is we'll take the difference in spot chips. Now these are a resource, we'll talk about these in a minute, but because I have a 6 and only needed a 4, I get the difference 2, and then you must put this down to the completed value, which would be 4. However, let's say I had a white die here and it's less than that number. In this case, it's considered this die to be sort of completed, but it's below that. Now let's say there weren't any white dice, but there was an orange 4. We talked about taking those cloud tokens. You could spend this to have this die be any color, and in this case, well great, that white die is completed with the orange. Or maybe I use a gray die, because gray dies are wild, and again, it's 4/4, it is completed. Now you can't reserve dice to place later, and once a die is placed, it cannot be moved to another card or another die symbol. And you can only have one die for each die. Now, on your turn during your main action, or even during additional actions, which we'll show you later, if you've completed this, like I did this 6, you needed a 5, this needed a 5, I had a 6, I got a spot chip here. This is completed. First of all, we would take these dice and we'd roll them back into the pool. Then we'd flip that completed card to the completed side. You're then going to get bonuses on the card. For example, this is going to get us 2 more of those spot chips. Now we'll talk about how you use those later. Now some cards, like if this one was completed, comes with what's called the leader token, and if you remember, 2 of those immediate victory conditions is only valid if you have that leader token, so that's going to be moving back and forth throughout the game as well. Now this shows the hope tokens. It has little wings there and a number. Now when you activate this, you need to have the leader token, which is why you probably would have wanted to have done this one first, complete it, get the leader token, then complete this one. Now this happens, you'd get 2, you add this up, so this is 2, and you might have many cards completed that have that symbol on them. A little bit later we'll talk about getting those sky painters, that's one of the victories. You might get some hope from that. You might also be getting some hope from the halo tokens that we'll talk about a little bit later. But if you have that leader token and you trigger this bonus, you add up all of these in your play area, divide by 2. In this case, if we had the leader token, we would get 1 of these. Now, this is going to be points at the end of the game, assuming that nobody has an immediate victory. Now, if later on I completed this one and I completed this completed cloud, or maybe I had this one up here and I completed it and it's a cloud on its own, you would take a cloud token from the supply. Again, if there isn't one in the supply, take one from somebody else. But let's say it looked like this. You completed this card, and when this one flips, you'll notice that it has completed a halo. And this allows you to take one of these halo tokens. Now these do different things. There's many of them in the game, but only 5 of them are used each game. Like this one will get you 15 points. Now this one, the first one that anyone takes is free. However, now that I've taken this one, the next time someone does a halo, it's going to cost them 1. They can decide not to take it and pay the cost, but if they want one, they have to take one. So if someone finished a halo, they could take any of these, pay 1, this one gets them 8 spot chips immediately. The next person, if they get one, they have to pay 2 spot chips and a hope. This gives them a hope symbol of 10. So anytime you activate one of those cards I showed you that has the hope symbol with the little wings on there, this adds 10 to that total value. Now the next person has to give 2 hope chips and 2 spot chips. Maybe they take this one, that gives you 9 hope chips immediately. Then, of course, as you see the cost going up, this would allow you to take a card and add 6 hope symbols to it for the rest of the game. So again, on your turn, you're doing one main action. You could take a cloud token if there are some available and you don't have one. You could take a spot chip from the supply. You can take a card, as we showed you earlier, and you can take a die and place it to help try to complete that card. Those are the things that you can do on your turn. Now you can also perform additional actions, and these are optional, and you could do them in any order, and you can do multiple of these. First thing you could possibly do is acquire another die. Let's say all I needed was this 3 here. Well, I need a 3 yellow. If there's a yellow in the supply, I can spend 3 of those spot tokens I may have gotten as currency back into the supply to get that. Now if I were to do that, this would complete this card here, so we would then roll those dice back into the supply, complete the card, and look at this, we're gonna get 9 more spot chips back, and it's gonna trigger the hope. But look at this, we had gotten this earlier, so we have 10, 18, 19, 20, 24 divided by 2, now we have 12 hope chips that we just got. Now, of course, we needed to have that leader token to trigger that hope, but we had it. We got that there. And now look at this. We have enough hope chips to buy this, spot chips to buy this. We're going to get one of these sky painters. And these have all sorts of different bonuses that you may get. This is an ongoing bonus where it says every other player, when they complete a card, you get a hope chip. But you'd also get the leader token. In this case, we already had it, and it's going to get you 2 points. But let's say in the future round, we get another one. Now this one increases our spot limit, our spot chip limit by 1, because normally at the end of your turn, you have to discard down to 6 spots but this allows me to have 7. Now again, if I have that leader token, I could now trigger the hope. Add them all up, divide by 2, doesn't get me points. So you can see you can combo a bunch of things together. Maybe I'd gotten this one first, which then triggered this, which got me more, which then allowed me to get this, and so on and so forth. And so you're setting up combos for yourself throughout the game. And again, remember, if you get 5 of these and you have the leader token on your turn, that's one of the immediate victory conditions in the game. Now once you've got one of these, you'll slide them down to the right and a new one will come off top. Now again, not only are you spending the hope and spots here, you're also spending the ones that are on below. So this one actually costs you 16 hope and 5 spots. This would be 3 hope and 15 spots. This is going to be 11 hope and 16 spots. So remember, on your turn, you're performing a main action. You might do additional actions. You're going to limit yourself to 6 spots. Then you're going to possibly check for your victory conditions, like having a leader token and having 5 of the Sky Painters, or having a leader token and creating that 3x3 grid of cards that are completed. But let's say neither of those two things happen and the last card fills up underneath the board, then the critical phase is triggered. Now during that phase, it can still be won with having the Sky Painter victory or the 9x9 cards victory with the leader token. But during this phase, if a player starts and ends his turn with the leader, or there's no more possible moves, then the end is triggered and the game ends, and then you go to final scoring. And you're going to be adding up all sorts of points, like completed cards, maybe Halo bonuses, maybe bonuses on Sky Painters. But you'll also be getting points for Cloud tokens. First place with the most of them gets 15 points, second 7 points, and third place 5 points. You're going to get points for your Hope Chips. Each one is worth 1 point. Unless you have the leader token, they're worth 2 points. You're going to get 1 point for each die you still have on any of your cards. So for example, if I had this, that'd be an additional point. You're also going to get a point for each uncompleted card, and you're going to get a point for every 2 leftover spots. Whoever has the most points then is the winner. Now keep in mind, there are a ton of different Sky Painters. I've only showed you some of the abilities, but as you can see in the rules, it clearly talks about what each of the different Sky Painters do. And there's also lots of different Halo token abilities you can look up, and there's plenty of different variants to tailor the game to your group's preferred experience. Well, there you have Sky Painters, and as I showed in the overview, you're drafting dice and cards and using resource management to adjust those dice and trying to adapt strategies to 3 different victory conditions. Now, if you'd like to see the most up-to-date art and components and all the different pledge levels available, you can click the link below me in the description of this video. Now, that's going to take you directly to the crowdfunding project page, and I'm sure that B Gamer would love your support.